G'day guys, Rabbit Kitty here, how's it going? Okay, so looking at walking away from a conversation, and people do this for varying reasons because, conversations can get a little bit, heated, so people can walk away just to calm down and think more logically, not get so emotional. Other times it's like, okay, well, I'll just check that fact then. I'll check back on that. It's not that. I mean, someone goes, oh, why don't you believe me? You think I'm lying? And it's like, well, they just want to be sure that what you're saying is true. Yeah, it could be seen as an accusation of lying. But the other thing is, in order to reach a resolution, you need to have all the sides. So if they back check on facts, it's not accusing you of lying, but of not doing your research. I guess it's a thing that they want to be sure that everything that they want to discuss is there, that the research is correct. And seriously, I would go, okay, you want to check that? Okay, go check it. And if I was mistaken in my assumptions or reading the facts or not getting both sides of the story, I'll go, okay, fair enough, I didn't see that, I didn't account for that. So let's move on and see where we're at with that and how does that apply or affect, what we're talking about. I've had a lot of people that say walking away from a conversation is tantamount to abuse. I don't think that at all. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I don't like giving someone the silent treatment. That's manipulative. I don't like to do that. If I walk away from a conversation and I want to talk to you for a while, it's because something of what you're saying I don't quite get, and I need to think of ways in which to ask, do more research, and like I can ask directly, but at the time maybe it wasn't conducive to asking. Like, if you're having a heated discussion and you try and ask and you're not getting the answers, it's to go back and say, okay, now how can I rephrase what I'm asking so I can get a clearer picture of what you mean and what I can do to communicate with you. So I'll get back to you in like a minute or 5 minutes or whatever. And sometimes it's good to go out and reflect on, hey, is what we discussed really what's going on? And looking inside yourself to go, okay, does that mesh up with what I think, what other people think? And I actually do go away sometimes, call up some friends or ask people questions like, am I right in thinking this, or does this seem reasonable? And I go yes or no. Sometimes, quite often I've had people go, you know what, that's more than reasonable train of thought. And you go, okay, well, I'll go back to the conversation and say, look, I know what you're saying, you think that I'm being unreasonable, but, I've given both sides of the story to obviously a friend, but I try to say, look, I've done this thing which is kind of bad, or they've done this thing which is bad, or this situation which is bad. What are the contributing factors? This is the whole situation, not just, oh, I think it's bad because of blah and I did all the good stuff, but it's really, Anyway, that is, walking away from conversation, many reasons to do that. And if you go after somebody to continue a conversation and they keep walking away, you got to stop and think of why. It's not because they're running away or leaving you, leaving you, because there are some people who may have issues with abandonment and stuff, and there's this traffic. But you got to understand that more often than not, they will come back. And when you think about it, they have actually come back and restarted the conversation with you and asked you questions. and clarified with you. So don't just keep saying, oh, you're walking away, you're walking away. See, that's your solution to everything, is to walk away, because they do, quite often from what I've seen, come back 5 or 10 minutes later, or even a couple of seconds later, and say, okay, I need to clarify, so you think this, this and this. So that is not walking away. That's them needing some space to clear their head, to settle their emotions, to think clearly and rationally, and come up with a solution and find out what your point of view is, so that they can try and find a middle ground to meet in the middle. There's other times when you have to walk away and not engage anymore though. And that's when it's like, you know what, this is futile. We've been over this topic again and again. This is not helping any of us, or it might be helping you to make you feel better, but it's not solving a problem or a solution or moving forward. It's dragging everything back, in which case I fully advocate not talking about that subject or engaging the conversation at all, because if you've done it to death, there's no sense in flogging a dead horse. And if they come up with something new, fine, re-engage and go on with the conversation. But this kind of got into my head, is that there's quite a few people that continue on with the same arguments, the same exact phrase and words, and I call them trope trolls, because they kind of speak in tropes and memes, and while they're helpful in provoking and saying, okay, this can be broadly classed as that, it's not helpful in the way that a lot of people will rely on that as a be-all and end-all of any arguments, and they won't contextualize or think about the current situation and what people are really saying. So when people do that, they brush off and they dismiss with a trope and not all, and they're just fascists, and they're lefties, they're extremists, they're Nazis or whatever. That is not taking into account the situation and contextually. And I find that engaging with people one-on-one in a reasonable manner is more than enough to get their point of view, and then you can decide to disengage or engage with that particular subject, topic, person or whatever, and it's up to you, it's your choice. But yeah, I think walking away from a conversation, I've actually said, asked people when they've been ranting and raving and stuff, I said, are you done? And they're in a pause, and they kept going on and on and on, and I was like, okay, we are done, and that's end of discussion, because I didn't have to take that relentless going over things over and over again, where it's just gone on over and over again, and it's not really about solving anything. And for me, I have times that I know I'm time poor, I guess. Everyone keeps saying they're time poor, but I like to, not that I won't listen to people when they have problems, but I like to think that I'd like to get somewhere, or they'd like to have a solution or get somewhere with that. Sometimes people just need to vent, and that's cool. I understand that, I do that, everyone does that. But there's venting, and then there's wallowing in your venting, if you can kind of get my drift. There's a certain point when you go, yeah, no, that's just not helping anymore. We need to move on and get someplace with this, because really it might make you feel better temporarily, but in the long run you don't feel better. So anyway, my thoughts for the day, and just construction around in the city. And so there's things, conversations. When have you walked away from conversations? When have you been able to stop a conversation and restart it? What has made you walk away from a conversation? What has made you re-engage? What is your tolerance point regarding particular topics of conversation, and how you'd like it to flow? And sometimes conversations can get out of control, I can understand that. So just a little thought, a little bit on communication, just to start the Thursday after hump day. So I'll see you guys later. tomorrow will be an interesting one. I know I started this one a little late today, but tomorrow will be an interesting one because I'm going to be somewhere else tomorrow. Okay, bye. Love you guys.